Hello, everyone. Welcome to yet another edition of the Beneath Your Feet Research Stream, live on LOTRO Stream here on twitch.tv/LOTRO Stream. I hope you're doing well. Happy holidays. And here we are. We made it, guys. We're at the newest zone. We're here in Cardalon. It's been a long time coming. It is now before the shadow. It was after the shadow, but now it's before the shadow. And it's what it is. And today we're going to be exploring the South Downs. We've been waiting for so very long to see what lies south of the Lone Lands. And now we finally get to check it out. So that's going to be our plan for today. So if you're the first time joining us, first of all, welcome. This is the research stream for the Beneath Your Feet podcast. And what we do is we go in depth with one particular zone of the Lord of the Rings Online. And we see what we can see. And we hunt for Easter eggs and all other kinds of good stuff in the hopes of, connecting the game to the stories we love so very well. And we tidy it all up, put a bow on it, and it becomes the next episode of the Beneath Your Feet podcast. So thank you for joining me. How are we doing in the chat? How are we enjoying before the shadow? Because we were after the shadow, and now we're before the Shadows of Angmar. It's a whole thing. What we're going to do today is we're going to hit the road. Starting here in lovely Sedgemead. And first things first, the ruins that they created for Cardalon and Swanfleet are so very good. They did a really good job of keeping it uniform with the Northern Kingdom and Gondor while still giving it a distinct flavor. Because, I mean, what is the Lord of the Rings Online without a bunch of ruins? I guess it's just WoW in that case, isn't it? And I'll go ahead and tell you, I haven't had a lot of time to really sink my teeth into Before the Shadow just yet. I got in a lot of play that first week. I got through a fair bit of Swanfleet. I got through Mossword, Kleeger, up into the Stour Vales here. That's kind of it. And you want to know what? I'm not mad about it. I'm taking my sweet time. I think in here on the lovely Treebeard server, maybe by the end of the year, we might be moving on to Dunland and Isengard. So there's plenty to do. And the reason why I haven't been super active with this expansion is just because there's been so much going on. Darktide came out, so I've been playing a lot of that. My enjoyment of miniature painting has come back full swing. So I've been painting lots of minis and building lots of fortresses and stuff for them to hang around in. Doing a bit of tabletop gaming. Even did a little bit of model painting over on my YouTube channel for the tens of you who are interested in that. And it was pretty cool. I painted some wargies. And it was good fun. But I have ridden around pretty much both Cardalon and Swanfleet. Even though I haven't done the quest yet. I've run around all and explored all of Cardalon except for the South Downs, and all of Swanfleet except for Western Eregion. I don't think I got there yet. And man, I'm just impressed. I'm a little bit bummed. I'm a little bit sad that it's nighttime here in the game, so we don't have the full glory of the sun by which to explore the South Downs, but it's going to be okay. Let's see here. According to my LOTRO chronometer here, it's late watches, so the sun should be coming up soon, but we'll see if this rain holds out. Okay, so we passed from Sedgemead to Rhudaur. And again, we are hit with this interesting mix of the ruins of Arnor here, and a few Elvish settlements and some Sindarin names, but really Rhudaur, Sedgemead, those are really kind of Mannish, Breelandish names. Ruddy, of course, means red or rust-colored. Moor being, well, Moor. We really have those here in the States. Well, there's plenty in England, which is basically the Breelands. And they really, I don't know. I've been really enjoying how complete the Eriador is starting to feel now, because we can now go from Breland, Lowlands, Trollshaws, Eregion. They're all connected together now through Swanfleet and Cardalon, and it's super cool. The world just feels so much more intact, and that's kind of one of the things I'm hoping to get a good look at tonight, is that border between the South Downs and the Lowlands, just to see how the transition looks and to get a sense of how, locked in the world is now. So the last episode we did was the Angle, and which is really right next door to this zone, but I think they make a good contrast, because we're going to get up on this rise here and see what we can see. They make for a good contrast because they're both just wrecked, like pretty much all of Eriador is wrecked. But whereas the Angle was a lot of Elvish outposts, likely created in the Second Age, here in Cardalon, South Downs, Swanfleet, it's, of course, the ruins of Arnor. Cardalon being one of the three kingdoms that was broken, that Arnor was broken into in the Third Age. And so it's a similar vibe in that we have a similar topography with the downs, the moors, and the cliff faces and the ruins, but it's got its own wrinkles and flavor, since this was a kingdom of men. And I'm running into a rock now. That's cool. And one of the things they've expanded is Andrath. Let's take a second and talk about that. So previously, Andrath was just this little speck down here in southern Breland, and there was a gate right about there. And now they've expanded Andrath to be pretty much this whole region here between the Greenway and this other highway in Karanost. And there's not a lot to be said about it, because, unless you guys know something I don't, because it's, I don't know, I guess geologically it's called a defile, which is like this narrow passage or gorge, which we can kind of see here between the two rivers. And the only bit of history that's really tied to it is this period of Before the Ring, when the Black Riders come up the Greenway searching for the ring. They have a camp there, and from there they kind of fan out into the Barrow Downs and the Shire, Sarnford, and so on. So it kind of becomes a home base. And I assume that once I get some more questing under my belt, we'll see the Black Riders here in this particular area. Okay, well, let's crack on. Actually, I'm kind of curious what Karanost is. We'll look that up later. All right, let's get back on the road. So we've got this really cool looking tower. For some reason, the stonework here really reminds me of Skyrim. I don't know why. I put in quite a few hours in Skyrim. I was not addicted to it like some people were, but for some reason, just the texture of it makes me think of that particular fantasy world. And so we're kind of left wondering what this, fort would have been. Then when we talk about Cardolan, we have to think about the civil war that happened in the Third Age when I can't remember the names of the kings off the top of my head, but essentially the kingdom was split into three by these three feuding brothers. And of course, the Lost Prince of Cardolan is referred to in the Barrow Downs as well. And their conflict is heavily relied upon when we talk about the Rhudaur storyline and the Trollshaws. And so with so much combat taking place in this area, it would make sense that they would be pretty heavily fortified. So I'm guessing that would be some kind of fort. Okay. All right. So what I want to do first is check out that border area between the Lone Lands and Cardolan just to satisfy my own curiosity. Then we'll cut back around through the South Downs proper and see what we can see. Lots of half-orcs here. Lots of half-orcs in Lone Lands too. Lots of the White Hand army kind of slowly creeping up through the Southern Lands on the way to Breetown as they're sort of preempted by scouts like this slant-eyed Southerner who we meet in Breland and who seems to be allies with Bill Fernie. So that checks out. Let's see what's at the top of this hill here. Here we go. I've expected some ghosty woasties to be around here. So this is all very interesting as well because if we think about the North Downs, so Lone Lands on into, I'm surprised they didn't open up the Midwater Pass yet to get to the North Downs. And we think about, in particular, Amon Raith right here. It's this ranger camp settled among the ruins around Fornost. Exactly the same vibe as this particular camp right here. So it's very interesting to consider this from a bunch of different angles. Thinking about it from a strictly aesthetic point of view, they had to create an identity for this particular zone that's so referential to Breland, the Lone Lands, the North Downs, while still giving it its own flavor. And I think they really did that with the choice of shrubs and wildflowers, which all look really cool. There's Weathertop. And with the way they textured the ruins. Okay, so this is cool. So now we're starting to see the transition to the Lone Lands where it starts to get a little more dry and shrubby. Okay, this is super cool. Geeking out over here. Let's see where we are. Minas Aerial. That's cool. That's very cool. Okay, so now we're going to try to cut across to the South Downs to see how far we can get and see really just see what there is to see, because within the context of the story, not a lot happens in the South Downs. And so I'm curious to see what they've added. First of all, they made it very downy, because the definition of a down is that hill with the rocky face. So there's our first natural border, where the zone's kind of funneling us into where it wants us to go. There's the amazing Weathertop in the background. And I wonder if we can get to Agamauer from here as well. There's Minas Aerial. Okay, so there we go. This is a great shot, actually, to think about the Loneland ruins here and the South Downs Cardolan ruins here. And I wonder, again, there's plenty of research to be done, plenty of things to think about, but I wonder if part of it is that division between the three kingdoms I mentioned before. So let's find a little bit of advantage here, and then I'm going to pull up a map to see if I'm the least bit right. Yeah, totally. Okay. All right, so let me show you what I'm talking about. The three kingdoms that I'm discussing. All right, I'm going to get rid you hate to do it, but I'm going to get rid of these lights because I don't want the screen to be too cluttered. Don't worry, Christmas hasn't been canceled. It's going to be okay. All right, so there's the map. Turn these Christmas lights off for a second. And make it a little bigger for you. Yeah. Okay, so we are in Cardolan, and then we're right about... So there's the... let me make sure I got myself together here before I start saying the wrong thing. So the importance of Weathertop was that it was right that pinpoint between the three kingdoms, Arthedain, Cardolan, and Rhudaur. And so while the ruins of Minas Ariel that we're looking at here are technically to the south of the Great Road, the Great Road really was the border between Cardolan and Arthedain. So we're right about here. So we're in Cardolan, obviously, but Arthedain would have been right here. And so anyway, my point in all of this is just to think about if there's a differential there between the architecture to point out the boundaries of that kingdom. So when we see that different stonework in the Lonelands, that's more like Arthedain, because we see that lighter stonework in Breland as well. And as we move into Cardolan, we see that the stonework and the fortresses have a more different hue, a slightly different style. It looks a little bit more Gondorian to me. And then when you head to the Trollshaws, which would have been Rhudaur, the ruins look even more different. And we know that the design team for the game is very cognizant of these things because they do a deep dive into every single zone before they start building it. And so it would make sense that in a zone that's quite, not bland, but unremarkable, like the South Downs is, they would look for little opportunities like that. And I know I say this at pretty much every stream, but I specifically haven't watched some of Scenario's streams because I want to see if I can guess it first. So now that I'm here exploring, I'm going to go back and watch some of Scenario's casual strolls to see if I'm at all near the mark. But regardless, it's just a great looking zone. It reminds me a lot of Rohan. I think they said the scale was similar to Rohan when they were promoting it and saying that just the scope of Cardolan and Swanfleet is comparable to certain parts of Rohan where it is so big and open, and you really get that, especially with these big ruins here in the background to kind of create some more of a sense of scope for us. So let's see, Cardolan. All right. So we're heading towards some of the bigger ruins. And man, there's really not a lot going on here in the North Downs, is there? This might be one of the more chill episodes yet. Let's see what we can see here. These are cool. And that's exactly what I mean, that kind of brownish, greenish color. Again, it's the arches and the stars are all emblematic of the Northern Kingdom, but the style is slightly different, just different enough to distinguish it as something apart from its sister kingdoms in the other parts of this region. Okay, let's check out this tower here, see if there's anything of interest there. And then we're going to head back to that big fortress. Then we might go back and run some quests if we have time. See if we can get into the story a wee bit here. I think those windows are interesting. If you've been through Osgiliath in the game yet, you see the windows look similar. Of course, Gondor and Arnor were sister kingdoms for many centuries, and so we would expect some of that overlap. Okay, so we're back in the Lowlands. Let's turn around. We're going to head back to that big old fortress we saw on the horizon, and then to the farm to the south, see if we can pick up some quests and learn a little bit more about what's going on here. Because the story in the Lowlands is pretty well established, and so I'd be curious to see how they fit that together here in the South Downs. Could be interesting. We'll see. We'll check it out. Recognize those trees. Recognize those trees a mile away. All right, what about y'all? How have your before the shadow moments been going this far? Oh, that's cool. That's Agamauer. That's very interesting. That's cool. Almost makes me want to start a new character. Just almost. I've kind of sworn off. I'm a recovering altaholic, and so the idea of starting a new character, even with the new user experience, even with the new class combinations, I just don't really want to. I still got plenty to keep me busy on my two mains here on Treebeard, to say nothing of my poor, neglected characters over on Landreval. But it would be cool to kind of to see the zones in context with the new zones attached to it. Alright, let's see what we can see up here, because this is already looking pretty dang cool. And I think we're getting close to a Region, actually. Oh, Troll Shots. We're getting close to the angle, essentially. How do we get up there? This is like Weathertop Part D. Goodness gracious. I'm playing this game for like my entire adult life. I still can't get a Weathertop in one shot. And I think we have a new contender. Dude, what is that? Maybe we'll head there next. Let's see. What do you know? More half-works. No problem. Here we go. I think we found the way up. Just a half-work hanging out, singing in the rain. As one does. No, that's not the way up. Goodness. I'm starting to feel like Breath of the Wild. At least in Breath of the Wild you could climb. We're going to find a way up. This I swear. Here we go. Houth Nidui. Houth is a tomb. Some gerblins, naturally. Okay, so this is cool. So the... Let me get a little closer before I start running my mouth again. Yeah, so the tombs here are very cool. And... Okay, there's some random lighting sources. Oh, he's sneaking. Okay. Anyway, it's very referential of Numenos. Again, while still kind of being its own thing. So that's cool. It might be worth our time to go and check out some of the other parts I've been talking about to see if, and just grab some screenshots just to do some side-by-side action to see how well these things stack up and what kind of contrast we can see. So very interesting. There's your classic rundown tower. Okay, let me go. I've been kind of bouncing around here. I think our next stop is going to be that big tower I saw before. Then we're going to swoop around to the farm and see if we can grab some quests and find out a little bit more about what's going on. These are some downy downs, people. I've seen a lot of downs in my time, but this is very downy. Shot, dude. Cheers. This whole thing, again, we'll see how I feel once I actually get through all of the quests and all the content and such. But this expansion has further cemented in my mind my feeling that I would really not be mad if they just did expansions of like empty zones. Okay, we got half-orcs and ghosties. Makes sense. Like if they had expansion that was just big zones, just exploration deeds, slayer deeds, no real content otherwise, I'd be a happy camper. Because just running around here is very cool. So what is this? Not Radlaw. That's in Swanfleet. What is this? Amon. What do they call it? Amon Fearn. Huh. I think my little comment about Weathertop Part 2 may have been misplaced because that seems to be what this is. Let's see. Let's live dangerously. Okay, so from here, that's not that high up. The peak. Okay, so from here we can see more ruins. Believe it or not, we got to come back on a clear day because there's the troll shells. I think that's the angle right there. That big sort of outcropping of rock just south of the ranger town there, and then Weathertop would be just over here. So I do wonder this would have been some, like, you know, as I said, tongue-in-cheek, Weathertop Part 2, where the people of Cardalon could keep an eye out on their hostile neighbors in Arthedain and Rhudaur. But let's find ourselves a quest hub and see what we can see. See if we can get down safely, first of all. Actually, what we should be doing is taking advantage of the new and improved falling damage mitigation. I jumped off a cliff in the Store Vales, landed in the water, piece of cake, no problem. You love to see it. I'll tell you what, it is considerably more cheerful than the North Downs. It's like the North Downs, the second you get out of Trestle Bridge, it's like just oppressive. I guess when you're kind of living under the shadow of Fornos, that makes sense. So with this place, it's a little, I'm not going to say cheerful, but it's less menacing. It's more neutral. And I don't know where I'm going now. Hopefully we're heading somewhere. I guess I could always check the map, but why would I do that? Sedgemead. Hold on. Let's see what's going on here. We're way off track. All right, so let's head up to that farm that I keep talking about. We're going to bring the UI back up and get ready to do a wee bit of questing just to see if we can uncover some story tidbits over here. I do enjoy the expanded quest tracker though. That's quite happy. Okay. Let's see this so-called farm. That's pretty cool. If they reskinned something from Rohan, if it's fresh or what, but let's check it out. Let's go. Can you imagine living out a farm in the middle of nowhere, and then a bunch of orcs and half orcs show up? Not my favorite. Okay, so come up the hill, bing bang boom. All right, let's see. On the one hand, I kind of hope we get some epic. Oh, it's a ranger. Dadgummit. So what I was gonna say was I kind of hope we get some epic quest moments, but I also kind of hope we get to just help out on the farm. Maybe we'll get a little bit of both. Alright, we're going to beat up some goblins there in Halthniroi, where we just were. Let's see, what do you want?
A band of goblins took over the Hove farm.
Oh no. We're going to rescue some folks. So it seems like the story arc so far is just, you know.
Oh, hello. Would you come here from the west?
It's just what's happening in the wake of all the White Hand orcs coming up. From Isengard. Okay, yeah, we get it. I hear Edrud talking to you about our farm. If you are going that way, I would also beg a boon of you. I hurt my back during the raid on our farm, so I'm not able to help out here as much as I usually have done. Alright, some basic essential kill 10 rats type of stuff going on here. What's up, dude? Now let's see what we got here. Now that is one thing that I have not only done a teeny bit of, which is the new delving missions.
Stay a moment.
Okay, we'll hit that up next. Let's do a wee bit of landscaping first. All right, got ourselves a bucket. We're going down to the Hove farm. Don't know where the Hove farm is though. Guess I better turn my quest tracker on. It's gonna be the one that says Hove farm on the map. In case you missed it. Off we go. Might as well punch up some guys, get those deeds done. If B4 is watching this, you'll know you have trained me well. I get a lot of lag since the new expansion for some reason. I was having some internet troubles here at the house, but I think I got those resolved, so. That leaves you, Standing Stone. Your move. You there, don't worry, I'll not try to rob you. I could use your help, you see. My companions and I heard that there were great treasures in the ruins of Halthniroi, but my granny tried to warn me of the dangers, but I just didn't listen to her. A few nights back, we broke into one of the barrows and carried out what shining things we found. Well, the truth is, I've not slept a night since. I swear someone is following me. Oh yeah, we'll do that. I don't think you're supposed to rob graves, buddy. I think that's the first thing they teach you in Middle Earth. Uh-oh. You know, I've been playing Minecraft with my kids when I see a little orange peak on the horizon, and I assume it's lava. It's not lava. It's Hofar. Well, it's a great day for stomping. So let's find some brigands to stomp. There we go. Got the snaz hammer ready to go. Let's see, what are we supposed to be doing here? We're supposed to rescue some people, looking for tools. Oh, there it is. And put this fire out. Oh, rude. Here's some gerblins. Nighty night. So some people might be thinking, you know, you're way over leveled here, bud. Why don't you come back and do this with a low level character? I don't really want to do that. I think I'm just here for, you know, here for the lulz, here for the lore, here to check out the scene. And I don't mind doing that way over leveled. Okay, let's check this flame out. Hey, yo. Get this guy free. Do another flame. Here, hey, yep. More flames over here. Hammer in hand. Oops. Got a little hasty there. Hey, look, it's a kid and some goblins. Take them down. And a 1 and a 2. But you can't really do that when you're on level. They killed everything. They ate everything. Oh boy. That's not creepy. This goblin's just standing around. I guess that's kind of what they do. Standing around instead of catching on fire. And one more should do the trick. And then what else we need? We only need 3 more goblins and or the boss. Twisted Fast Altar. Oh. Alrighty. There's Luke Glob. Oh. There you go, Cled. Where's Tomer? What did you guys do with Tomer? I will find you. Oop. Wait, is Tomer the dog? Oh no, Tomer's that person. Yep. Did they kill this poor cow? Rude. Look, they didn't even eat it. It's the sheer cheekiness of it. Alright. We call that a fine day at Hail Ho Farm. So let's head over to House Neroe. See if there's any more lore to uncover there. So far, not so much. Pretty chill over here on the South Downs. I guess everybody's gone up to the North Downs and or Lone Lands to cause mischief. So all they've done is terrorize the poor Hove family. Short of that, there's not a whole lot going on here. Now there is, of course, this whole quest hub here at Karanos. I think there's some more ranger action. So maybe there's some more lore to uncover there. But for now, not so much. Not so much. It is pretty chill, pretty quiet out here in the South Downs. Nothing super remarkable. No impressive landmarks except for these wonderful ruins that we've been checking out. It's pretty plain Jane. And that's okay. In a sense, that is part of the charm of the Lord of the Rings Online is that for a fantasy world, it's pretty normal, pretty not fanciful. And we like that they keep it that way. But how do you feel? I mean, my podcast episodes are intentionally quite short, but how do you even feel a short episode with this? I don't really know. We'll go through some names, talk about the kingdoms, and have a good time. But man, the sheer fact that the Eriador is essentially complete, it's just so nice. And then as soon as we get the South Farthing, bing, bang, boom.